Greetings, everyone. It is Isaac Wells, the voice of Internet's Skeletor. You're watching Dragonfire Entertainment. And remember, listening to a podcast before bedtime is the adult version of story time. Until we meet again.
What's your poison? Let's drink it tonight. In the glow of the stars, everything feels right. Raise your glasses, let the good vibes pour. Together we'll sing, who could ask for more?
How's it going, my fellow beer and horror movie aficionados? Welcome to a Shocktoberfest edition of What's Your Poison? As always, I'm Wildman Wess. Today we have 4 beverages that are inspired by horror movies. I'm very excited to try them because, quite frankly, I haven't had any of them. And I'm very, very excited and terrified at the same time. Hopefully they're all good and they make the final grade. That being said, let's get started. First up today, we have something completely different from the usual beer review. From Walden, New York, in Angry Orchard, we have the Blood Orange Cider. As you can see by this can, we have the mask of Jason Vorhees. This is a Friday the 13th inspired cider, and it says it's made with natural flavors at 5% ABV. Oh! Looking at the color of this, normally with blood orange, I'm used to seeing orange, but we can see that it is dark red. Oh, how fitting for the first drink of the Shocktoberfest series lineup. Ooh, that carbonation is still very light, and for a cider, I can understand. Oh, that blood orange is very, very sweet, almost candy style. It almost smells like orange candy. Well, let's have a sip and find out what it tastes like. That is not bad. Citrusy, dry, and because being a cider, it's going to be dry. I've had quite a different amount of ciders in my life, and this one, probably one of the drier ones that I can imagine. Oh man, it's making my mouth salivate. That's a good thing. We've talked about that before. I'm going to have another sip, and we're going to figure out this grade. Now, being a cider ale at 5%, this tastes so light, so smooth, so dry. It can be dangerous, much like our antagonist in the Friday the 13th series. I love the flavor profile on this one. I am very sad that I only have one can.
This is mine. Don't you take it away from me.
When it comes to the grade, I wouldn't say that I would drink this a lot because of the fact that it is very sweet and dry at the same time. It might be considered rich for some. For the grade, I will give this 4.5 out of 5 because this is very, very nice. And another thing for all of you people out there that want to drink a little bit more beer but might have a gluten allergy, this is gluten-free. So Jason is taking it nice on you for this Halloween season. I'm going to sip a little bit more on this, and we're going to get into another beer for the day that's also Friday the 13th inspired. Next on our lineup today, we have quite the collaboration, mainly from 450 North Brewing Company in Columbus, Indiana, and also Arpus Brewing Company from Latvia, and also Sudden Death Brewing Company from Lubeck, Germany. We have Vorhees Vitality. This is a 5.3% smoothie style sour ale, and it has blackcurrant, blackberry, almond, and banana, and artificial Bavarian cream flavor. That says a lot, and quite frankly, seeing this can brings back a lot of nostalgia. When I was a kid, I got to play Friday the 13th on the NES, and with the color scheme on this can, you can see with this close-up, we've got the Jason in the purple and the light blue. And I honestly found that very funny as a kid because when Jason was in the movies, he never wore something like this, but a lot of it with my opinion, with his earthy tones of his attire, as well as that white hockey mask, it probably would have muddied into the pixelation in the video game. But I digress. I am excited because this is part of 450 North's Slushy XL series, and I've had quite a few of them in my time, and they've never failed to impress. And looking at this right now is very dark. Darker than the Angry Orchard. This is thick. Oh my goodness. Now when I look at the flavor profile of the blackcurrant and the blackberry, and also the almond and banana and Bavarian cream, I'm a little perplexed because blackcurrant and blackberry tend to be on the acidic side, and banana and almond will definitely smooth it out. And I'm hoping that one does not prevail over the other, because when you have things that are sweet and smooth and mellow, it might just dilute all the acidity from the sour flavors in your beer. But it could be that the sour might overpower that. But we're going to have a sniff. Ooh. That, my friends, is something. Because I am getting a lot of that black currant. Very cherry-like, and also a little bit on the darker side with the blackberry. However, going on the drive-by, I am getting a lot of almond and a slight banana. So we're going to have a sip, and oh man, I can't wait. Good. Beer. Good. I am very impressed with this, and I'm going to explain why. Remember when I mentioned earlier about that concern about the acidity and the sourness overpowering the almond and banana, or vice versa? This definitely is perfectly balanced. You get that acidity, you get that sour, you get that tartness, but you also get the almond and banana, especially on the back end of the mouthfeel. That Bavarian cream just definitely smooths everything over. And even though it says it is a slushy style sour ale, this could almost come off as a pastry ale. And especially with that Bavarian cream, because it gives it more of that fluff that a lot of pastry sours and pastry ales have. Grade-wise, I'm gonna be biased on this one. It's a 5 out of 5 because not only did they give you what you wanted on a slushy style of a sour ale, they also give you a little bit of the slightness of a pastry ale, a surprise. And that's definitely part of that trick-or-treat idea. This was definitely a treat. I'm gonna sip on this a little more, and we're gonna go on to something a little bit different and a little bit more into the paranormal. Here we go. Spiritually coming in next from Illuminated Brew Works in Chicago, Illinois, we have Pazuzu's Pedal. This is a 6.3 porter style ale, and it has a nice description here. Get possessed by the sinful pleasures of bitter chocolate, coffee, dark fruit, grass, and herb in this homage to everyone's favorite Babylonian demon and his love affair with the bicycle. Looking at this can, obviously, this is a nod to The Exorcist. This is definitely one of those go-to movies during the Halloween season. And for good reason, because a lot of darkness, a lot of scary moments happen in that film. And this beer is just as dark as The Exorcist itself. I'm loving this head consistency. It's very thin, and even at 6.3% for this porter, the body is very light as well. Just as you see as I'm making this dance a little bit, it's not as thick as some of the other porters I've had in the past. We're gonna have a sniff real quick. Definitely on a 3 sniff, I'm getting a lot of that dark chocolate and coffee, a lot of bitterness. Not getting much fruit, but let me try the drive-by. Possibly a strawberry, even though it says dark fruit. I'm thinking maybe a blueberry in there, because blueberry and chocolate, they definitely go well together. But here we go, let's have a sip. That is interesting. getting chocolate and coffee. That fruit, I'm not getting whatsoever. Not at all, really. Grass and herb, I will say on the back end of the mouthfeel, I'm getting an earthiness, but not as much of that fruit that I was thinking. Maybe it could be a mixture of the grass and herb in there, but I'm not sure. I'm a little perplexed on this one. It is fairly delicious, but I would probably say for me this is a one and done. Now, on the interest of fairness for the grade, for a porter style ale, this one is obviously a little bit different than the ones I've had in the past, and I'm torn a little bit because let's have another sip because I could be mistaken. Yeah, I'm not really getting a lot of that dark fruit that they talk about. A little misleading. However, I would say, yeah, this is definitely a one and done. And when it comes to the grade on this one, I'm very disheartened. I wouldn't say disappointed, just disheartened because I was expecting a little bit more. Grade-wise, it is going to be a 3 3/4 out of 5. Illuminated Brewworks, please don't be mad at me. Please don't send Pazuzu or, go on your little board and find Captain Howdy and... Your mother drinks Pilsners. I told you not to do that. I'm doing my best I can with this grade, Well... Before I get into too much trouble with this one, I'm going to finish it as quick as I can because we've got one more beer to go, folks. Alright, well, I'll be right back. Closing out our Shocktoberfest episode of What's Your Poison from Beer Zombies Brewing Company in Las Vegas, Nevada, we have Here's Zombie. This is a double dry hopped hazy double India IPA with 8.237% in ABV. I love the play on this because the .237 is a reference to Room 237 from Stephen King's The Shining that was adapted by Stanley Kubrick. Now there's a lot that can be said about Stanley Kubrick and Stephen King when it comes to the adaptation of The Shining. Now, with an adaptation of a beer, I'm hoping that we have some better reviews and results. How about you folks? Oh, this be interesting. So we're going to pop this can open, and I do have to admit, I do love the, nice try, Jack. But anyways, looking at this, it is slightly hazy. Okay, all of the carbonation's going up, slightly cloudy, the head consistency very frothy, very foamy, not dancing as much on the body of the beer, but you get a little jiggle. Jiggle, yeah. Alright, I'm older than that. Let's take a sniff on this because it does say there's Cryo, Citra, Mosaic, and Simcoe hops. Seeing those, I'm expecting dank, earthy, and somewhat flavorful. Okay, okay. Malty on the 3 sniff, and very earthy on the drive-by. Getting a little bit more of a grapefruit, possibly a little bit of a passion fruit in there. So we're gonna take a sip. Let's face it, I don't do a lot of grade writing in my life, but beer, I love this beer. It's very good and tasty, and I'm just gonna drink it right the hell in. This is definitely something I was not prepared for in the best way possible because I am getting quite a booziness from it. Ooh, yeah, this is definitely boozier than what I was expecting at 8.237%. Normally, I see an 8% IPA and I'm thinking to myself, okay, middle of the road for most of the ones I've had in the past. But the flavor profile is very, very boozy. And also, this beer is coating my lips a little bit, and it's making me not be able to impersonate Jack Nicholson as best as I can. It's very hard sometimes. times, but, well, I guess I drank and talked too much. But in all seriousness, this beer is very good. However, I will say, because I mentioned about it coating my lips a little bit and the flavor profile on the back end, this might be a little too rich for some of you IPA fans out there, myself included. I do appreciate what Beer Zombies tried to do with this. However, I would say this is a one and done, because I love the flavor, but it's making my stomach kind of go, oh boy, you better stop. You better stop. You don't want to go into room 237. No. There ain't nothing in room 237. When it comes to the grade, I will say 4 out of 5, because very dry, and I like that. I just feel that some of the flavor profile and some of the body is probably not for everyone. But Beer Zombies, you did a great job, and I love the artwork with Jack Nicholson as a zombie with a mustache and a hot beard. That is great. That's a nice touch. Well, we hope you enjoyed this Shocktoberfest version of What's Your Poison. If you've had these beers before and you agree with me, leave a thumbs up. If not, I understand. Not every beer's for everybody, just like horror movies. But make sure you share on social media, and most importantly, you push that subscribe button and ring that bell for instant notifications. Until then, I'm Wild Man Wess, and we will see you next time for another episode of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. And while we're in the 80s mood at Dragonfire Entertainment, be sure to stick around for our Shocktoberfest themed episode of Game Central Station, where I take on the 8-bit game Haunted Halloween 86, sponsored by Spirit Halloween. And before I forget, make sure you check out my boy Hefe at Beer You Beer Me, as well as Beard Wizard Band for all their beer-related content. Until then, I'm Wild Man Wess, and we'll see you soon. Take care, and as always, cheers, kiddies.
What's your poison? Let's drink it tonight. In the glow of the stars, everything